toilet paper.
What are you doing there?
Dicht.
What do you want? The toilet paper? You want to shit in there? Look guys, the garbage men are here, but normally they pick up trash early in the morning, but today they are very late now. Oh, that is our trash. Bye bye trash.
Hello everybody.
And come on.
The toilet paper, please.
There you go. So Chris is doing another project again. I don't know.
It's not a new project, it's the same project.
What do you mean? No, it is a new project because last time we were talking about the stairs I'm doing.
Yeah, but it's all the same project.
Ah, alright. Why are you doing toilet paper in there?
To fill the thing.
Hey?
Just to fill it, I don't need too much silicone.
Okay. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's me again, your girl, Dayanara. And today is another vlog. Yes guys, we are on the second floor and Chris is there on the half of the floor. Anyways guys, yes, today is the day that I'm going to tell you that I finally passed my driving license. Oh my god, after 48 years. And how do you feel that I finally got it? Yes guys, yes, it's a good day today. What? What?
Toilet paper.
Here. You want more or not?
No.
Okay. So we can take this back out. Oops. It's too dark. Why is it too dark? Our chair is here. Look at that. It's the chair that I won last time. Yes. My first plan was actually to just take this video upstairs featuring my new chair that I won from the bingo night, but unfortunately the lighting is a little bit crazy upstairs, so I decided I just do it downstairs like usual. And this vlog or this video is about my driving license. As promised guys, I promised you before that once I'm done with my driving license, once I pass it, I am going to tell you how it went. Why it took me 6 months guys to finally take the exam and got my license. So without further ado, I am going to tell you everything. I hope. I hope I don't miss parts. So anyways, let's move on to our story time. Yes, I took the exam just this morning guys, around when was that? 10:15 in the morning. It's now 14:26. It's now 2:26 in the afternoon. So yeah, it went well. If you're a beginner, then the license will probably take around 3 months. That's like the normal time frame. But it depends. If you need more practice hours, then it's a little bit longer. I had mine for 6 months. I know. Oh my god. So I'm gonna tell you why it took so long. And but if you already have a license in your country and you just want to change it into a German license, then I think it wouldn't take that long. I think around 3 weeks to a month. It depends. But you definitely need to take the theory exam. So first things first, I enrolled in this Fahrschule, this driving school just near us. You already know that is a Fahrschule. And I think it was around January when I took the exam, more or less. Yeah, I took the exam, the theory exam. You must take the exam first, and they will give you then an application that you can study at home. Yeah, you can study online. And yeah, I actually went so fast with my theory guys. It just took me, I think, around 2 weeks to study everything, and on the 3rd week I took the exam and I passed on the first try, no problem. So my husband told me, you know what, it's gonna be easy peasy for you. You're gonna get this driving license maybe around 2 months. You'll have it. And I was also thinking like, yeah, maybe I will. So I took the package. There are different packages, and how much it costs, guys. I know you're wondering how much it costs to get a license. So it depends on your driving school, but it will range around, let's say, 1,500 to 2,300. That is like the normal price. Including with this price, you also have like 12 hours drive. So within this package, then you have the 12 hours drive. When you're done and you don't need more practice hours, and your driving teacher tells you that you're already good, you can now take the practice exam, then you're good to go. You take the exam, and that's the only thing you're gonna pay. That is the price range here in my city, here in Nordrhein-Westphalia. But I think if you go to Munich, or if you go to, let's say, there in Stuttgart or in Berlin, I think the price also differs. Or if you're living in a town or in the mountains, I think that's more cheaper, I guess. But in a city, it's expensive, more expensive. So anyway, so that is, I already paid that because I took the premium package. So I paid around 1,900, guys. So I was thinking, look, my husband is there.
Husband?
My husband.
Since when are you saying my husband? Yes.
Why are you bringing a knife? You're giving it to me. God, you're dangerous. So here, husband. Come on, not your bawk, Andoy. Stomach in. And your face. Show them your sexy face. Your porno bar. Give me a kiss. Yeah. So the horror story begins. Oh God, I had so much problem with this driving school. This is by far the most depressing roller coaster ride of my life at this year, guys, 2020. The thing is, I really didn't want to have a driving license. I didn't plan to have a car. I knew before I enrolled in this school that it's gonna be expensive for me because I am going to pay for it. And 1,900, let's say, I was like, wow, this is really a lot. Not including the exam cost. And my husband told me, you know what, Han, better take your driving exam now before it's too late. And I told him, you know what, I really don't like it. I don't want it. I don't want to waste my money on this because I am good with the train. And I think if you're driving with a train, it's much cheaper, I told him. And then I started working and I realized, it's not really practical to always go with the train because sometimes the train is late, and also when you don't have a driving license, you cannot go anywhere, especially on Sundays, or if you just want to, you know, be spontaneous and meet with your friends, you cannot do that because you always have to go with the train and you always have to go with the bus. And sometimes when it's weekend, the train don't drive every don't drive every 20 minutes, rather it drives every hour. And sometimes when the train breaks or there's something wrong with the street or the trailway, then your train will be canceled and you have to wait another 2 hours. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot live like this. So Chris told me, you know what, start it now. It's just gonna cost you around 1,900 or 2,000 max. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I can afford that, no problem. So I did. And then so when I passed my driving theory exam, I told myself, oh, it's very easy. I am going to proceed now to my practicum with the driving. And I told my husband I wanted to go for the automatic car because I know it's a lot easier. Also, a backstory, guys, in the Philippines, I also had a student permit, so I was able to drive 10 hours with an automatic car. But that's only 10 hours, guys, and you know, you cannot really drive, you cannot compare Philippines here in Germany because the Philippines, you don't really need to, you know, to study how to drive. You just drive with your parents and that's okay. And there's so much traffic in the Philippines, so you cannot drive like in here in Germany. in the freeway, for example, you have to drive 120 kilometers per hour or more. In the Philippines, because of traffic, only driving around 50 kilometers, you know. There's less chances of error, and you know, you're just staying, you know, in this traffic. So I cannot really compare my 10 hours of experience for driving once I got here. So I was a full beginner when I got here in Germany. So my husband told me, okay, then just do the manual car, because if you have a manual, then the cars that you want to buy after you have that license is going to be cheaper for you, because manual cars are cheaper compared to automatic cars. And I didn't want that. I told Chris, I really want to do the automatic, but my husband insisted, go for it. It's gonna be cheaper for you. Yeah, and I was like, okay, then let's do it. So, yeah, and then I told the driving school I wanted to go for the manual car, and then they signed me up. And then hi, can you stop? Because I'm sorry, guys. I'm just gonna close the door. The school asked me, do you want to choose your own driving teacher? And I told her that I would like to have a female driving teacher. And she told me, the information in our school, she told me, yeah, unfortunately we don't have a female driver because we only have one in school, but unfortunately now she's not available. She has so many students and blah blah blah. And she told me, you know what, we have this teacher, he's a guy. So let's just say, I don't want to tell his name, but this is the teacher that I hated. I'm gonna hate it. Anyway, so let me just call him the Mr. D. So I told my husband, you know what, I have a new driving teacher, this is Mr. D. And my husband told me, you know what, that's what a coincidence, because this guy is actually my driving teacher before 10 years back. And I was like, boy, really? I was like, yeah, this was my driving teacher. I was like, boy. And I told him, yeah, and did you pass? Yeah, I passed, no problem, blah blah blah. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I was excited because my husband knows this guy, Mr. D. And so the first drive with the manual, it was okay. The first hour was okay. And then I noticed that because in this package, guys, in the price that I paid is 1,900. You are allowed to have 12 hours of driving. So if you go overboard, then you have to pay extra. So, okay, so I was driving like normal. I started my first hour of driving with him. Everything was okay. He was okay. This driving teacher was okay. And then, the thing is, I was working at that time and I also have school. And he thought that I was a housewife, that I had so much time. Because he only has free time in the morning, but unfortunately I'm going to school in the morning and I'm also working, so I only have free time in the afternoon, or you know, around 5 in the afternoon. But the thing is, he has a lot of students, guys. He has a lot of younger students, and it is his priority to drive with the students, because I think they have like this driving school, and the students, they have some kind of they had some deal that they prioritize the students first before anybody else, which is me. I'm not a student anymore, so I'm like the adult version. So he didn't prioritize me, and every time I tell him, you know what, I want to drive in this week, in this time, around 5 in the afternoon, and he said, you know what, I'm sorry, I cannot do that because I only have then available time in the morning. And I was like, oh, that is difficult because I'm a beginner. I want to drive more, and I never had any experience with a manual car, guys. For me, it was all new to me. It was like, I don't know how to drive a manual car. I told him, I'm not an expert. I need more days for practice. And the thing is, he said like, I'm sorry. It is what it is. So we're just gonna drive when I have a free time for you, blah blah blah. So the thing was, it turned out that I only met him sometimes only one time in a week, and there are times that we are driving, some days we drive 2 times in a week. But the thing is, there are times that we didn't drive for a week, so we have to wait 2 weeks before we drove again. I told him that, you know what, I really need this driving license because I need to drive to work. And the school, they told me like, yeah, don't worry, your driving license is just gonna take you 3 months and you have the license already. So so that's what was my expectation. And I've noticed that I don't know, guys, I don't really like when people shout at me, because I don't learn in that way. Some students, they can learn when someone is very strict, but this Mr. D is very strict. He was so strict, guys. Small mistake, he was so perfectionist. Small mistake that I do, he was freaking out. He was shouting at me like, what are you doing, blah blah blah. And sometimes I'm freaking out and I cannot think anymore. And I thought at that time it was normal because I never met a driving teacher, you know, in my life, a German driving teacher. So I don't know if that's a normal attitude for them. So I just carried on my way, and I feel like I didn't want to drive anymore because he's always shouting. And sometimes we drove, guys, 3 hours in one day because we only have one appointment in a week. So he tells me every time, yeah, we need to do more hours when we meet because, you know, in that way we can learn more. So yeah, we were driving 3 hours, and the thing is, he doesn't really tell me politely if I do something wrong. He always freaks out, or he likes to unmotivate. He's so unmotivated. He's so negative and everything. He's like, yeah, you're not really good at this, or you're not really good at that, you know, you must study more when you're at home, or look some more YouTube videos. And, you know, every time I'm with him, I feel like I'm a stupid person because I cannot think because he's shouting at me. And then after a month, guys, we just drove, I think maybe 3 times within that first month. Normally, if you go with a driving school, you must have a city drive, so 4 hours driving inside the city, so like within the city, not inside, within the city. And I think 4 hours in Landstraße, so that's where you go to the mountains, or you're gonna go to somewhere outdoors, something like that. Not really outdoors, but somewhere where there's like woods and villages. So where there's no people at, so you can drive 100 kilometers per hour straight. And you also need to drive in the night, but I took my exam on summertime, so we don't have night driving. Instead, we only did more autobahn, or the freeway, or the highway. So that is the thing that you must actually fulfill so you can take the exam. So every time we go, I never went to another part of the driving like ways, you know. So we only drove in the easiest way. So like we only drove in the street, within the city, guys. So that is like the basic stuff, you know. That's the easy stuff when you drive just within the city. Because you can only drive around 50 kilometers per hour, 30 kilometers per hour. So we were driving, yeah, within the city every time we meet, and he was, I don't know, he was always in a bad mood, guys. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's always in a bad mood. And then on the second month, he told me, you know what, you're really so bad with manual car. I suggest we drive with an automatic car. And I was really pissed, guys, because why didn't he tell me directly to drive an automatic car when he already know that I was bad with a manual car? In that way, I could save more money, because my driving hours was already done. The 12 hours that I paid already, which was the 1,900 euro, was gone because it was, we already we drove it all, you know. We already used it. So he told me like, yeah, unfortunately you must do the automatic, because I don't see that it's gonna take you forever if you do the manual car, and this is going nowhere. And I was like, really? I mean, like, I already paid so much for this. I already paid 1,900 just for this manual car, and now you want to start over. And he said, yeah, it's better for you, blah blah blah. And I told myself, well, if you already knew that beforehand, why you just didn't tell me the first time or the second time we drove, so I can save more money, because I know automatic car is a lot easier. So anyway, so we drove, and maybe the automatic car, it was a lot easier, but the thing is, he always shouted at me, guys. My God, this guy is crazy. And every time I go home, I told Chris, I don't want to drive anymore, because my driving teacher is, I don't know, I think he just doesn't like me, or I think his attitude towards me is just different. And he told me like, then change your teacher. So I went back to the school and I told them the information that I wanted to change my driving teacher, because me and Mr. D, we were not compatible. He was a good teacher, that's for sure, but the way he teaches me, I don't learn in that way. But the school told me like, yeah, Dayanara, if you want to change your teacher, you're gonna wait for a month. And also, they're more or less the same. They have the same attitude. So, and Mr. D is one of our best teachers. So I don't know if you still want to change. You know, 1 month is also a lot of time wasted if you wanted to change for a teacher. And so the school is not giving me any choice. So even though I'm really depressed at that time, I'm really upset with myself, I still continue with driving. And this driving teacher, I don't know, guys, it was really weird. And I think our school was telling him, Mr. D, that I wanted to change, and I think he was a little bit pissed at that time that I wanted to change a teacher. I don't know, maybe. And then afterwards, when I went back with the driving with him, I think his attitude towards me went worse, because he wasn't talking to me anymore, and he was just so weird, guys. I'm not saying that he's racist, but he was just so weird. And then after 3 months, we just driving within the city. We didn't drive anywhere, and I was paying him a lot of money, not him, but the school. I'm paying a lot of money for the school, because every time you drive, you always pay. You know, I told you last time that I paid every time for 1 hour and 30 minutes. I pay around 80 to 90 euro. And then I think on the 3rd month, he told me like, or 4th month was that? No, 3rd month, he told me like, you know what, Dana, well, there's a new teacher for you. If you still want to change, you can have him. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was relieved. I was so relieved, guys, that finally I can change a teacher. And I told him any teacher I would take except him, because he was the kind of teacher that is so unmotivating, and he is so negative. And our school tells me that, you know what, some of our students learn that way when they are shouted, or when a teacher is really strict. But I told him, I'm so sorry, I don't learn that way. I like people to be polite, because I'm polite to people. I don't shout at my coworkers, or I don't shout at my clients. That's not how I want to be treated. So I changed, and then comes Corona, guys. So Corona, so I have to wait again for another 1.5 months. So we were not driving. So that is now the 4th and 5th month. We were not driving, so I was not driving. And then on the last month of the 5th month, I met my new driving teacher, and then I started really driving with the automatic car. And he was the best teacher that I ever had, guys. He was so friendly, he was so funny, and yeah, everything happens for a reason. And I told really Chris, I know a lot of things, bad things happened to me. Financially, I was so distressed. Emotionally, I was you know, I was done emotionally. Every time I go to the driving school, I feel like, nah, it's so upsetting, blah blah blah. And now that I met let's just say he is what should I call him? Mr. A. So he's Mr. A. So now Mr. A went there. He was around 50 years old, and he was so funny. He was every time funny, and he didn't shout at me. He was so polite. And then we were starting driving. I know I started again from the bottom, because, you know, I had to go to the other other driving places that I have to fulfill before I can take the exam. So that's why it feels like I did a new course, because with Mr. D I only drove within the city, so there are still a lot of places that I didn't drove in. So I needed to pay for my highway drive, so that's around 4 hours or 5 hours, I don't know how much, how many hours I spent in there. And I also drove in the mountains, in you know, in Landstrasse I drove there, so that's another, let's say, 5 hours or more. And then I drove extra again to the autobahn because I don't have nighttime drive, so I drove so much. So I think all in all I drove around, I don't know guys, every week it's like more or less 3 times in a week. We drove three times in a week, guys. And luckily he always has time for me. I was his priority. Mr. A was, I told him, like, you know what, I really didn't have a good experience with my previous driving teacher, and I don't have much experience in the road because I only drove inside the city. And inside the city, guys, with my previous teacher, I drove 27 hours, guys. Imagine 27 hours just within the city. And I was like, my God, this is crazy. Who drives 27 hours within the city? You know how much money I spent in that in that place? Oh God. And I was like, hey, I'm not saying that I'm stupid, guys. I'm not stupid. I just cannot concentrate because of the teacher. And maybe it's also because of me, because I don't know, maybe it's like culturally we don't like when people are so upfront to us. We don't like when people are so streng. You know, we like to have like a happy atmosphere. We like to have like a kind environment that you can learn, because that is what we are. I think that is also the hard part when you are living in another country and you have to meet this kind of people, because these kinds of people are viewed to be normal people here, normal citizens here in Germany. But yeah, I must adjust. But luckily on my second driving teacher, he was so kind. Okay, I paid so much again, but I can say that every time I go drive with him, I'm always happy and I'm always in a good mood. I look forward to driving with him because it's always fun. He always has a lot of funny stories, and every time I make mistakes, you know, small mistakes, he always tells me that in a friendly manner. He tells me like, okay, this is what you did wrong, so this is how you correct it. It is normal that you make mistakes. You don't have to freak out, but next time we will make sure that we correct it, you know, something like this. And I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. And if I knew that Mr. A was the best teacher, I could have went for him rather than waste my time with this Mr. D. Oh God, hey guys. And also, guys, a tip: if you want to do a driving school here, and if you feel that something is wrong with your driving teacher, just change it right away. Just change it. Just trust your gut instinct or your intuition. You know, when you think something is wrong, something doesn't fit, then just change it directly, because it's your money, it's your emotion. And also always have a presence of mind when you're driving. How much did I spend? I think I spent around 15 more hours with him, guys. I don't know. So to cut the story short, I know you're wondering how much in total did I pay for my driving school and for my driving. Yes. Well, this is minus. This is not including the exam fees that I paid. So just with the school, I paid around 3,700 euros, guys. I know, 3,700 euros. And for the theory, I paid, I think, around 22. I mentioned it. And for the practice exam, I paid around 91 or 97. So more or less, I paid 3,800 just to have this license. Yes. Yeah. And I was was thinking, oh my god, because I compute everything, and I asked actually for the entire the receipt, because they did the total and all in all, and I was shocked. Oh my god. And he said, well, the school was telling me, oh, you made our school very rich. And I was like, yeah, I know. Oh god. And I was like, I could bought a Chanel bag for 3,800 euros, guys. Imagine 3,800 euros. I could buy a, I don't know, maybe a small house or a land. But anyways, that was my story. That was my crazy story. I was crying. I really had a lot of downfall in this. I was crying. You can ask my husband. Doy! You can ask my husband, guys, how many times I cried over and over. Because all of my money went directly to the driving school. It went directly on their bank. Not on my bank, but their bank. But I'm just glad that I have it now. I am glad that I will be able to drive safely thanks to Mr. A. If you're watching this, I know you cannot understand English. But thank you very much for helping me with my driving. So guys, don't be like me. Be like you. I know you can do it. You can do better than what I did. Just go for it. Always think positive. Always go for the teacher that you like, that you are comfortable with, that just makes you happy and makes you feel like, you know, you can do it. Like, only positive thoughts. Don't go for a teacher that only makes you depressed, makes you cry every time, because learning is supposed to be fun, guys. Learning should not be like a horror story or like a sad movie, because that's not how it's supposed to be. You paid for it and you deserved a better treatment. So anyways, guys, that's it for our vlog today. And if you have any more question, feel free to comment down below. And by the way, guys, yes, we also had a lot of fights, me and Chris. We were fighting every time because I was blaming Chris. Yeah, I told you I don't want to drive, and now I'm paying so much. It was your idea, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it was just my fault, guys. It has to do with me. That has nothing to do with my husband. He was just there to tell me what needs to be done, and he just wanted to help me to be independent in this country. So get your driving license, guys. Save for it. You don't have to pay 3,800 like me. You can pay less than 1,000. Just be good at it. If you are in your country, start practicing driving, because it's very important here in Germany. If you are if you're already married with a German guy, or if you have a friend who has a driving license, go to a what do you call it, there's an Übungsplatz. You can practice place, and then go drive in there and spend some hours in there and just practice driving every day, so you don't have to pay as much as I did. You can save more, and I know you can do it. Thank you guys for watching my vlog, and I'll see you on my next upload. I love you all. Mwah.